Hello, welcome to TriggerSmart. I forgot to make this public until about a minute ago. Whoops, never done that before. Typically, you make it public and then people can see it all day long and decide if they want to go or not. So this one might be a smaller stream, but that's fine. It's good information. Make sure you come back and watch it. Give people a few minutes to come in here. Hey, Elizabeth, Pamela, Sham, Harry, Mr. Turpin, how's it going? It's going to be an interesting show. And I wonder how much overlap this is going to have with Baron. I know he's covering some of that stuff here at 6. Yes, I agree. People keep telling me that. They're like, how come you don't add I don't know or not sure or something similar? But I like to try to get people to make a decision on something and commit to it instead of always having like that free out, you know? Happy New Year. Give people a few more minutes, then we get started. We have a lot to cover. It's going to be a very interesting show. All right, we'll go ahead and shut the music off here. Hey, Rebecca, Sandy, Miss Princess. Hopefully everyone had a good New Year. Kind of started it off with possible war with Iran. That's always fun. Yep, lots of nice, fun people in Baron's chat. It's definitely an interesting crowd. And if you didn't get to see the Joe, if you didn't get to see him address Joe, you should go back and watch his last show. I don't think she'll be back. Yes, that was music. It's a little bit lower. I'll play it again really quick and then we'll get started. There we go. The whistles got stuck in my head. All right, we got questions coming in already. Yeah, exactly. This is a high IQ outfit. If you can't handle that, get the hell out. Welcome, Miss Princess, to your first live with me. Yeah, I caught part of that Ian show as well. He almost got to talk. It was amazing. All right, I'll go ahead and get started with the opening statements, and then we'll get into it. Welcome back to the show, Truth Seekers, where we connect dots that some folks swear are just random stars in the sky. Tonight, we're zooming in on Fort Huachuca, that quiet Arizona intelligence hub, and whispering about some basically eyebrow-raising coincidences. And these are purely allegations. Nothing's proven, no smoking guns, just publicly available breadcrumbs that any internet sleuths like you have strung together into threads that they kind of fit too neatly for comfort. And this may be some stuff that other people are going to be covering here pretty shortly, but history is littered with shadows, syndicates, corruption, wars for profit, underground networks exploiting the vulnerable, especially the poor, the helpless, and the young. And yeah, it didn't end with history books. Hundreds of thousands of kids vanish in America every year. So upwards of 800,000 I've seen today, many from margins where no one's looking too hard. Piece by piece, these stories are disturbing on their own. Stitch them together, and suddenly the puzzle starts whispering back. But hey, before we dive into the rabbit hole, TPUSA is already buzzing about a Vance Kirk ticket for 2028. And Erika's given JD her full-throated endorsement. So let's jump to that first. I don't know if you know about this. You've seen this most likely.
We're going to ensure that President Trump has Congress for all 4 years. We are going to get my husband's friend, JD Vance, elected for 48 in the most resounding way possible.
So you've probably already seen this, right? You know that she's endorsing JD Vance. I don't know if you've seen this or not, though, yet. This is Frank Turek, Rob McCoy, and Mikey McCoy. And this conversation is very unsettling for many people. This is them talking about Erika Kirk and JD Vance running in 2028. But there's a few things about it that are very off, and I want to give credit to Allie Top Files, of course. Go check her out, subscribe, and also look for her on X.
The ticket in 2028 is going to be Vance Kirk. And I said, I don't know if you want to take it because I don't think you're going to have the same effect as the president of Turning Point USA. But You know what? Between you and me and our listeners, I'm not giving up on the Vance Kirk ticket.
Well,
Amen.
It's very exciting right there. But
I think Erika would be an amazing president someday. But
now, why is that interesting? Because people are saying that Charlie Kirk would make a amazing president someday. Obviously, he wouldn't have been able to do 2028 because he wouldn't have been 35 yet. But it's interesting that now she's kind of stepping into his shoes. She's taken over CEO position at TPUSA. She has also apparently, maybe, according to this, is thinking about political aspirations and becoming president or vice president. And that's what people were saying Charlie was going to do. And check out this video because they go in depth into like his journals and different things, almost making it seem like Charlie wanted her to do all of this and like left a blueprint for her. But this part was strange here. Listen to this.
he left behind these blueprints for her, and
for you.
Yeah, there you go.
And for you, Mikey.
Yeah.
Did you see that? So he said Charlie left behind these blueprints, which a lot of people aren't buying that either, for Erika Kirk. But now you saw that Frank Turek was just like, and you, Mikey, right? And then you remember Rob McCoy was talking about how amazing his son is and how he couldn't believe how great of a general and that kind of stuff he was, commanding people and directing them. It's very strange. This almost seems like they don't want to, they're not happy just assisting in politics. It seems like they want to take over politics. Very strange. All right, so now today our main focus is Fort Huachuca. So if you don't know where it is, it's a pretty sizable fort, and it is right on the border. So if I zoom out here, you can see it's right here in Arizona, and then right across the border, you have Mexico. So it's sitting right there. Obviously, there's you have the peaks and stuff between, but they have pretty easy access. So I started thinking about this. Is there anything about this that is interesting or that warrants any deeper research? And I started digging in a little bit. And hopefully everyone can hear me all right. Let me check the chat here really quick. Yep. Okay, I see everyone. Hello, everyone. I see the new people coming in. All right, so yeah, I saw some people doing the pukey face to those three, and I don't blame you. All right, so like I was saying, anywhere from 400 to 800,000 migrant children are missing every year. But then since 2020, specifically, they're talking about these migrant children on the border. So if you remember, there was, I think it was 85,000 up to 400,000, somewhere in there, of children that were unaccounted for. And they're being handled by, I believe, DHS and some other military and government, offices are handling them. And I was very curious, like, what does the fort do, right? Because we've heard about Fort Huachuca. We've heard about Mitch. We've had Candace kind of bring it up. We've heard Barron talk about it. But what do they actually do? We know they do some intelligence, but I wanted to dig deeper than that. So Fort Huachuca is a United States Army installation. It is in Arizona. It started off basically as like an anti-Native American type of post to protect the border. And today they have about 18,000 people on post. And Fort Huachuca is the headquarters of Army Military Auxiliary Radio System. Others include Joint Interoperability Test Command, the Information Systems Engineering Command, and the Electric Proving Grounds, and the Intelligence and Electronic Warfare Directorate. So they do a lot of stuff with drones, UAVs, and I saw something that said they switched that over to a different base in 2006, but based on the stuff I've heard lately, I don't know if that's completely true. I don't know if all of it went to a different base, but definitely intelligence. And then I'll come down here really quick. After the surrender of Geronimo in 1886, the Apache threat was extinguished, but the Army continued to operate Fort Huachuca because of its strategic border position. Remember, I already lost it over there. That's fine. Just remember, it's right on that border with Mexico. They basically have direct access. So coming down here, in addition to the U.S. Army Intelligence Center, Fort Huachuca is home of the 111th Military Intelligence Brigade, which conducts military intelligence training for armed services. The Military Intelligence Officer Basic Leadership Course, Military Intelligence Captain's Career Course, and the Warrant Officer Basic and Advanced courses are all taught there. And it talks about unmanned this is the aerial vehicle thing I was talking about, where they said it changed in 2006. But obviously, we've heard that Erika Kirk's mother still has some kind of contract or something there, allegedly. And the program was reassigned. The 11th Military Brigade hosts the Joint Intelligence Combat Training Center at Fort Huachuca. Okay, great. That's kind of the backing. But I started digging in. Obviously, I'm using Grok here, and I made Grok check itself and verify things. It's very interesting because initially, when this first came out, Grok was giving me a one-sided political answer to everything. And I don't know if you guys have seen that. Let me know in the comments. Have you actually seen Grok be like Democratic or Republican when you're asking questions? And I said, you have to be fair. You have to look at both sides of it and pull all that information. That's funny. Code name should be Fort Chihuahua. All right. So Fort Huachuca is a major U.S. installation near Sierra Vista, spanning about 76,000 acres, very large base, hub for military intelligence, cybersecurity, electronic warfare testing, and unmanned UAS training. All right. I've only highlighted the things I specifically want to talk about. So it trains soldiers in military intelligence disciplines like human intelligence, signals intelligence, geospatial intelligence, and counterintelligence. It also hosts the Army Network Enterprise Technology Command for cyberspace operations. It operates radar equipment, tethered aerostat for DEA drug interdiction and military auxiliary radio system headquarters. So basically, they're doing the most important military, cyberspace, and unmanned vehicle research and testing and that kind of stuff that there is in the United States. Fort Huachuca is a major site for defense contracting, particularly intelligence, IT, and testing. Subcontracting opportunities available. They currently have 49 open bids. This includes people that are not in the U.S. So this includes overseas. Now I want to look into foreign ties. So they do host international military students at the intelligence school, which seems like that isn't a good idea. Why would you have other foreign intelligence come to the U.S. to learn how the U.S. does intelligence? That seems kind of counterproductive. And then they do diplomatic engagements and then border and drug interdiction. Let's see. Now, this is the important piece. Broader context, it's linked to global defense through testing. Iron Dome integration via contractors like Raytheon. Okay. So I was looking to, where are you at? Here we go. Grok it previously has said this. I don't know if it's 100% verified. Erika Kirk's father, Kent Francevy, worked as a program manager for Raytheon, a defense contractor with U.S. government ties, including Israel. Her mother, Lori Francevy, is CEO of E3 Tech Group, which has contracts with DHS and DOD. And remember that Erika and her mother moved to Arizona to have that contract with the military there. So it's very interesting. And then, you know, the DOD involvement, is it specifically Fort Huachuca? I don't know if it's specifically Fort Huachuca, but I find it's interesting that the whole family's kind of there. Raytheon, her mom, drone testing, UAVs, all that, right? But this is where I was like, okay, so what? There has to be more. There has to be more than this, because we have all this military stuff, drones, whatever, great. There's intelligence, great. That's always existed. So I want to dig deeper. So criminal activity and scandals. This is where it got interesting. Public records show several incidents involving personnel, often related to, I'll say, youth exploitation, because I don't want the algorithm to freak out, smuggling, and corruption. There is youth abuse. You can read that on the screen. I'm not going to say that on the stream. There's youth molestation. There's youth pornography. And then, of course, there's drug-related stuff, which you would expect right on the border. There's also smuggling of humans, right? So investigation revealed soldiers accused of assault, that type, were less likely to be confined pre-trial compared to other crimes. So they got kind of like an easy out, right, for these people. And then obviously there's a lot of conspiracies about psyops with the base because of the intelligence piece of it. And there's also, I didn't know about this either, claims of underground bases for NSA CIA activities, genetic manipulation, mind control, or population control. I found that very interesting. So they say it's speculative, of course. We have to say these are allegations. But as I was digging deeper through this, I said, okay, what do they do there? So they have the Joint Task Force Southern Border. So they take care of the border, right? So they have all this intelligence stuff. They have all this UAV stuff. And Erika Kirk's mother and father had military contracts, and her mom supposedly does some work with Fort Huachuca and some of these other places in Arizona. And her father did some work with Raytheon, which has also been linked to Fort Huachuca. All right. So digging in, they coordinate full-scale, agile, multi-domain operations, border patrol efforts, illicit activities for crossings and trafficking. The trafficking was the piece I was really focused on. And then it talks about how they host intelligence network and electronic warfare units. Okay. So they do border control in addition to the intelligence. So I started digging in deeper and I said, what does this have to do? I know there's the whole like Mitch thing, right? Like this meeting where maybe they met and there was something there. And Mitch said he saw Erika and he saw Cabot and he saw, Brian Harple. I know that piece is there, but separate from that, I found all of this stuff. And that's making me think there might be more going on than just maybe even possibly what happened to Charlie. So it says Fort Huachuca hosts PSYOP training through the U.S. Army. Let's see. I just want to skip some of the stuff we've already talked about. Okay, so youth exploitation, right? We know about that. And there's cases that are proven. We know about human smuggling, right? Human trafficking. We know about that. There's proven cases. And then we also have apparently some serial killers and stuff like that, which, it's not uncommon, unfortunately, with the military bases and stuff. So how is this linked? Well, it talks about the Charlie Kirk case and Candace Owens and everything else. It talks about, the official FBI narrative, which I don't know how many people believe that. But it talks about how Candace was talking about Fort Huachuca and Mitch and all that kind of stuff, right? And I said, well, that's kind of one-sided. So I said, dig deeper, but don't make this like a political thing, right? Like I want to hear both sides of it. Well, Fort Huachuca hosts PSYOP training. PSYOP training, remember that, through the Intelligence Center. And they used it in Desert Storm. They've been doing it for years. This goes all the way back to World War I. So they've been doing this for decades, right? Military intelligence background, goes through World War I, World War II, and Vietnam War. Now, I'm getting to something here in a minute. I know a lot of you guys are like, hey, you're reading this stuff, it's good information, but I'm connecting this stuff here in a second, and that's why I'm showing this. So the PSYOP, Desert Storm, intelligence support to PSYOPs, counterintelligence, human intelligence. They have 78 intelligence-related courses for over 12,000 personnel annually. So they're training 12,000 U.S. and international agents, soldiers, whatever you want to call them, in this intelligence, right? That's a lot of people. And what are they doing with these people? And now recent claims, we talk about online discussions have speculated about Huachuca as a hub for PSYOPs, often tied to QAnon or Mind War, which is Major General Paul Vallely. Remember that name, Major General Paul Vallely, okay? The Mind War doctrine originates from a 1980 U.S. Army paper titled PSYOP to Mind War, authored by Paul Vallely and then this other guy, Michael Aquino, okay? Remember that name, Paul Vallely, very important. And basically, if you sum it up, it's truth-based influence and intelligence. So they try to manipulate people using truth. I don't know if this means like an actual truth or something that seems like truth, but the way they do it is through media, as you would expect. Operations use global electronic TV, radio, and all that kind of stuff. And they do it through, back in the day, they did it through leaflets and loudspeakers. And they say that it begins before physical conflict, and they want to basically win the war just mentally. So remember, Paul Vallely, he's a retired major general focused on innovating PSYOP post-Vietnam. Okay, so criticisms. They say there's conspiracy interpretations often portrayed as a blueprint for mind control. Now remember that Mikey McCoy and Frank Turek, and I don't know if Erika said this as well, but a lot of TPUSA people keep saying that Charlie left a blueprint for everything, a blueprint for her to become president, a blueprint for her to become CEO. And it's very strange that there's these PSYOPs linked to Fort Huachuca. And as we're going to see here somewhere else, it's very interesting because they're using this terminology, a blueprint for mind control and domestic propaganda, and then also weapon use. Now, there's suggestions that some of this is actually tied back to satanic rituals and things like that as well. I don't really get too much into that stuff, but that was in here. So I just want to make sure you know, yeah, Amina was a Satanist. Yeah. So you are right. And in Michigan, I saw some stuff that he was a Satanist and did cult-like stuff and whatever else you want to call it. But he was one of the people that was writing this intelligence information for the military. So does that mean that the military is going off of cult-like satanic doctrines and stuff like that? I don't know. But very strange. So as I kept digging, guess what? Paul Vallely is an advisory council board member for TPUSA. And if you go through here, it says Vietnam, talks about his intelligence training, military academy, talks about counterintelligence, anti-drug, all the same stuff that we read about just a second ago. So Paul Vallely, who is a military intelligence person who worked on these books and all these things with a satanic type of person, right? Together, they wrote all these different ways that things are supposed to be done to manipulate people, counterintelligence, win wars, manipulate the media and people's minds, and then the blueprint, right? We're talking about a blueprint. So we have Vallely here on the board. There are other people who are also working for TPUSA that are also intelligence. So I've seen at least 3 or 4 so far, and one of them is very prominent on X and is a Navy intelligence officer. I find that very interesting that they are working for TPUSA and they're experts in psyops and creating blueprints to control people's minds. All right. So as I'm going through here, you're going to ask, well, how are you tying this all together? So you have Vallely, who has the psyop capabilities and intelligence and everything else. He's on the board for TPUSA. Yes, someone's asking, is this TPUSA? Yes, it is. So, and actually, I'll show you here. So it's Turning Point USA up there on the top. It's their website, tpusa.com/team. And you can see him right there. But how's this all tied together? Well, there's allegations, right? I'm not saying that this is 100% true because I don't know. I'm not there. But there's allegations that Erika Kirk has ties to youth trafficking in Romania, right? I had a video on this before. I talked about how she was working with the U.S. military and some other people, and she is accused by a lot of people have come out about this. I don't know if it was her specifically, like her Romanian Angels nonprofit, but her and the people she worked with moving children around. Supposedly they were supposed to be just giving gifts, but there's so many videos that have come out saying that children were being placed with people doing adoptions, right? So that piece is there, right? And then you have, like I said before, you have Fort Huachuca that has had youth trafficking, youth abuse, border patrol, like they control the border and that kind of stuff, work with the border. And there's been, tens of thousands, if not over 100,000 kids that have come up missing, right? They're unaccounted for. That was during the Biden administration. And then you have, 800,000 kids a year that disappear. And in Ukraine, it was like 200,000, I think was the number. It was a rough estimate of how many kids were missing currently. So it's very interesting that it seems like her and the guy at TPUSA with the PSYOP, Fort Huachuca, the border, and all that stuff kind of seem to be in that same arena, right? And then people are like, well, maybe that's just a coincidence. Okay. And this is just for fun. This is Erika Kirk's Instagram on the left. She's standing with the dudes. Charlie's not there. And then on his Instagram, this is what he posted, right? And actually, let me blow this up a little bit bigger. That's pretty small. Okay. But you can see, so the picture she chose was her with these guys. The picture he chose was them together. And that might kind of go into the mindset that we're talking about here, right? But if you haven't seen this, we're going to watch this really quick. This is Cabot Phillips. And if you don't know, she and Cabot were dating. And this actually covers it pretty well, so I'll just let it play. And this is from Project Constitution. Make sure you guys go check him out. Obviously, he's very active everywhere and does a ton of work. No one can be right 100% of the time, but he does share some very interesting stuff. So definitely go check him out and give him a follow.
I ain't gonna believe what I just discovered, dude. Pizza thing on Cabot, and that's not what I'm talking about. But listen, so we know the bookshelf, right? The bookshelf, did y'all see the books? The secret history of Israel's targeted assassinations. Rise and K first. Are you freaking kidding me? Not to mention Mr. Cabot put, pizza talk is the new pillow talk. You tweeted this in 2018, dude, and you know what pizza means. Let's go through some of the books you have on your shelf, shall we? In the Name of the Children, an FBI agent's relentless pursuit of the nation's worst predators. So you know what pizza means, Cabot. Hey, Cabot, check out cannibalism right here, Cabot. I mean, what a perfectly natural history. Okay, Cabot. Hey, Cabot, how about this one right here? It's called Skiff. It's also on your bookshelf. The Curious Lives of Human Cadavers. Are you kidding me, Cabot? It's time we have a little talk, Cabot. And I want to know what exactly y'all are hiding. Yes, we're that couple who does painting lessons together. Yeah. That's in 2017, September. Take a look right here. You and Charlie, 2017, September. Yet she didn't know who Charlie was. Charlie didn't know who she was. Are you kidding me? You're posting pictures of you and Charlie and then you and her. Like, come on, man. We're not stupid. But back to the pizza thing, Cabot. I want to know, did you really get this tattooed on your lip, man? Like, Cabot, is this a real, like an actual tattoo? Because why would you do that, man, when you clearly know what's going on, bro? You doing it for attention, for clout? It's pretty sick if you are, dude. Then you got your little How to Fight Like Charlie with Cabot Phillips. Oh, yeah, November 20th. I guess I already missed that one, didn't I? It's just a fact of all this, man. Everybody's tired of all the BS, all the lies, all the hidden secrets, all this, all that. But the pizza thing, man, like, it blows my mind how so many people see it and they're like, oh, well, it's no big deal. Yeah, it is a big deal.
Now, for any of you that don't know what pizza is, many of the elites, politicians, billionaires, that kind of stuff, there's allegations that whenever they want to have, I don't know if you can see that fly, but it keeps bothering me. But there's some allegations that if anytime they wanted a young adult, possibly underage, as company to do with what they choose, they would order a pizza, right? And there's Pizzagate. There's different ways that they would do it. This has been widely talked about. So that's why he's getting so much flack about this pizza thing. But now I'll let this finish playing. But now just think about everything I've talked about, right? We have the PSYOPs, we have the intelligence, we have the Vance and JD with Kirk presidential thing that's trying to be pushed out there. We have, Cabot Phillips with the Pizzagate thing. We have Erika Kirk with the Romanian Angels thing. We have the fact that her parents work with, Raytheon and do that kind of stuff in Fort Huachuca. We have, Mitch walking in on that. And we have the fact that Charlie, like some of you guys are saying, like, did he find out about something? Did Charlie figure out that maybe an operation of this type was going on? And maybe that's why, they took him out. I don't know. And could this be separate from the financial stuff? It could be. But what if they're using that, those millions of dollars that are supposedly out of place? What if they were using that for an operation like this? Now, again, these are just allegations. This isn't like a factual thing. This is just me trying to connect pieces.
Oh, for sure. This right here is the main thing that we want to protect, the children. And you post stuff like this right here, dude. Are you kidding me? Charlie was very, very, very aware of the pizza thing, too. Also reveals how these use pizza as code word for CP, okay? So Charlie knew, meaning Cabot. It just kills me the fact that Charlie knew all about this and you just think it's okay just to get pizza on your lip when bro. Like, come on. You're not my bro either, by the way, dude. Cabot. This right here, look at all these. This is what Charlie posted. Look, pizza link. This was all over like Meta and stuff. I mean, just, it's just sickening to me, man. It's so sickening how this stuff continues on.
So as you can see, there's a lot of pieces, a lot of moving pieces, right?
I ain't gonna believe what I just discovered, dude.
Really
Pizza.
So obviously I've shown a lot of stuff, but I mean, this raises a lot of interesting questions. Obviously, like I said, I just kind of started piecing these things together and like pulling different threads. And as you start to look through all the different people involved, and their past and the allegations against them, and the fact that the fort is on the border and the fort has had, these youth allegations against them for abuse and trafficking and everything else, on the record officially, like people have officially been in trouble for this. This isn't like people just talk about it. Like this is public records. So I find it very interesting, and it may all be related or not, but there's some open questions. Does TPUSA have anything to do with trafficking and grooming the youth of America? That's a major question. If these are the type of people that are in TPUSA now, and maybe they've been there the whole time, maybe Charlie was just finding out about this stuff. But if they're in there now, they're adding chapters, and states like Texas are making those chapters mandatory in high schools. Other states are joining in, I believe Tennessee as well. So you have to start asking yourself, are they already putting something in place? Not necessarily towards the Pizzagate piece of it, but you never know. These are older kids at this point. But then you have the piece like, is there any funny business going on between militaries of the world and trafficking? I think we kind of know that in certain areas, especially in war-torn zones, it is not uncommon to have human exploitation. It does happen. It's already been shown. I showed it in other videos in Ukraine right now with the current war. But the bigger question is this much bigger than just TPUSA in Fort Huachuca? That's the major question. And again, I'm just asking questions. I'm just some guy on the internet. But take this information, do with it what you will. And we'll go ahead and start getting into some questions. Well, a lot of questions. All right. Well, I can't even get to the top of the questions. All right, here we go. Does George Webb have any significance in the investigation? Nope, his stuff is irrelevant and illogical. George is a 48 waste of time. I don't follow George Webb, but I mean, I've heard some people say he was great and he's done some great investigations and broken open, huge cases. And then people on the other side are saying that he's trying to do like a intelligence campaign against Candace. And I guess tonight too, Paramount Tactical and some other people are going to try to prove or show that she's an agent of some type or working with some kind of intel. So I'll be interested to see what they come up with. Let's see. Thanks for sharing on X. Thanks for my dedication. Let's see. Trying to get to the questions here. Ton of comments too. They're going to ship them for the young voters. Ship pizzas? Let's see here. Rob McCoy said that Mikey was presidential material. See the jealousy of Mikey's face. Erika had everything except the fact that Charlie thought Israel was going to kill him. Yeah, I mean, that whole seeing Rob McCoy with Frank Turek and Mikey McCoy, all three of them have been in question during this case, right? And seeing them all together, huge smiles on their face for the new year, talking about this presidential ticket. But then also seeing Frank Turek be like, you too, Mikey, you too. It's very strange. And the fact that he said it and not Mikey's father, right? How come Rob McCoy wasn't saying it? How come Frank was saying it? Very weird. What would qualify her? What are her qualifications for VP? Being pretty or for marrying a great future president? What qualifies her for CEO? There's a lot of questions around that. And a lot of people are saying that, Charlie wanted this and he said that and he wrote it in his journals. I think Patriotic Housewife, if you haven't seen her before, go check out our channel. But she has some good questions like, can we do some kind of handwriting analysis to see if it was really his writing in those journals that said that supposedly? Or can we see the journals? Can they share them? This is gross. We need to take our country back. Yeah, and that isn't even including the Islamic takeover of the U.S. at this point either. Mondami got sworn in New York City on the Quran. Yep, Mr. Turpin, #1 electronics base and drones for sure. Yunti Shida, thanks for the super sticker. Danny Diesel, it's a multi-directional investigation. Keep digging. Excellent research. Thank you, Danny. Fans can't possibly be that stupid. So what are your guys' thoughts? Actually, down in the comments, put a 1 if you think that, I don't want to ask this. Put a 1 if you think that Nicki Minaj meant to say assassin for JD Vance and if she suspects something. Put a 2 if you think it was just a Freudian slip or like an accidental thing that she said. I'm interested to see what you think because it was very strange. And the fact that they completely froze up and didn't talk about anything else for a while and Erika had to kind of save her. It's very strange, very strange. Yeah, it looks like we're about 50-50. So that's interesting. And let's look at this poll here. So we had, the poll question was, does Fort Huachuca have any significance in the Charlie Kirk case? 94% said yes. Now I'd be interested, do you think that it's significant just because Candace brought it up with Mitch? Or do you think it has some other kind of significance based on some of the other stuff that I showed today? And Baron's going to be talking about this after this as well, you know, maybe even digging deeper into something else. So there's definitely a lot of eyes on it at this point. All right, let me get back to questions. What does it say about Charlie Kirk's judgment that he surrounds himself with parasites and vultures? You know, a lot of people are asking the same question because these are all like his best friends and he's been around them for a long time. He married Erika Kirk. Cabot Phillips, Erika, and Charlie were all on each other's Instagrams and that kind of stuff during the time that Charlie said he didn't know who she was. Just a lot of weirdness there. Like a lot of people have come out and actually questioned that, you know, Charlie's integrity. I'm not to that point yet, but this is a good question. How does he choose the people that are around him? How are there so many people that seem untrustworthy and strange? And some of them, you know, I don't want to say evil, right? Because that's the kind of words they're using, but they don't seem very, they don't seem very Christian or godlike to be in a TPUSA faith type of organization. We'll just say it like that. Let's see. Is Mitch an actor playing a role someone gave him? So there was, who was it? I believe it was George Webb. I think he came out and was saying that Mitch was sent there to break up a meeting. I don't know what the meeting was supposed to be. I don't know what his insinuation is about the meeting itself, but he thinks that Mitch is for like an asset for the FBI or the government in some kind of way, and that he was sent there to stop the meeting and some, you know, cause like some kind of ruckus and break things up. So he could be. And like I said, I don't know a lot of stuff about George Webb in depth, so I can't speak a lot on that. PSYOP training, definitely connected. Crypto bench markup, thanks for the super chat. First time super chat here. I saw your ints with Bray. Yeah, John Bray was great. I think we're going to have him back on. I think what we're going to try and do is have, if you've seen Jordan Henshaw was on Kelly Raybon last night, and he has the theory that, you know, Charlie faked it or attempted to fake it, and maybe someone else, you know, intervened in some kind of way. But we're going to try and see if we can get those two to kind of debate and battle on the channel because they have very different theories. Might be interesting. Let's see. Are you asking if I'm on True Social? I am not. Yep, weird to use blueprint. Weird word to use, yeah. And the fact that they're all using it, right? Why are they all using blueprint? That's not a very common word. I don't use blueprint ever. That's funny. Satan headed for the White House. All right, I'm trying to find actual questions. There's a lot of questions here too. Weren't they expelled from Romania? Give me 1 second. So as far as I know, I did some research for that video that I did before on Erika. Yeah, there's rumors that she was. But then if you look at like fact-checking sources, like Snopes and stuff like that, they try to say that like it wasn't her specifically that was expelled or asked to leave. And it wasn't specifically Romanian Angels, but it was some other, you know, relation to that was asked to not be there. And they was supposedly doing this stuff for the young children. Somehow this all got past Charlie. Exactly. If all this stuff is going on in his organization, granted, he's on the road, but he is married to Erika Kirk. He knows about all these different people. Unless, I mean, just imagine how good they would have to be around him every day and him not know any of this stuff. But again, if you have intelligence training and PSYOPs and people in TPUSA that are well versed in this kind of stuff, like Villeli. I don't know if I'm saying his name right, but maybe they could have pulled it off. It's very strange. And Andrew Tate is a bad guy. He got caught. So I don't know if you're comparing him to Erika and those people, but Andrew Tate actually went to jail for it. So I think it's a little bit different situation. Good find, my man. Thank you. Let's see. I'm just trying to make sure I don't miss any. Oh, here we go. June Ninja, thanks for becoming a channel member. And to all channel members, definitely appreciate your support, and all subscribers as well. And definitely hit that like. I know we're going to be going to Baron here after a bit. If you guys can hit that like and subscribe, it's the only thing that makes YouTube happy. Let's see. I have someone helping me here fielding questions. They're also adding a lot of comments, making it hard to find the questions. Let's see. Wait, so TPUSA chapters are going to mandatory in some schools? Yes. So the only one I know about for sure is Texas and possibly Tennessee. But in Texas, the governor or the mayor, one of the two, I think it's the governor, he basically said in every high school right now, it is mandatory to have TPUSA chapters. So basically it's illegal to not have TPUSA in the high school. Does anyone think Cabot and Aquino look familiar or look similar? Interesting. There's a lot of that going on right now. They'll burn the evidence before the truth comes out. Gary, thanks for the super chat. Thanks for bringing to light this dark disaster. I never knew the meaning of Pizzagate before tonight, and it raises a lot of interesting questions. I've heard rumors of another ring in Ukraine. Yeah, that's the, well, I don't know if you're talking about the Romanian Angels. They were said to have had, brought kids in from Ukraine into Romania and then, possibly done this other stuff. But as far as the Russia-Ukraine war, it is going on during this as well. And I've heard, anywhere from like 24,000 to over 200,000 kids and, women and stuff have been trafficked so far. Mikey seems to be being groomed with excessive praise. Groom is a good word. I'm looking at the TPUSA setup, and it seems that they are grooming the youth, which could be a good thing if they were positive mentors, had a good message, actually had faith in that kind of stuff. But based on what we're seeing, it might be the opposite. I'm hoping that's not the case, but the fact that, Frank came out and was like, well, you too, Mikey, you too. And his dad's kind of like trying to push him before, saying that he's so great and everything. It's almost like they're forcing him into this whatever position they want him to be in. And then you also have obviously Erika Kirk and the Vance thing and the presidential run. Now, I just want to I didn't point this out. This was actually a patriotic housewife, but I'm going to say it here too. So she was a trad wife a few months ago, supposedly. I mean, she had her little podcast and the store, the faith-based clothing and all that, but she was supposed to be like a traditional wife at home and take care of the kids, and he was on the road. But now she's CEO. Clearly she's doing all these appearances and news and, doing the book runs and all that kind of stuff. Who's with the kids? Clearly it's not Charlie. And then, you have the fact that they're talking about this possible presidential run. I don't know if they would bring it up if she wasn't talking about it herself. So if she's thinking about doing a presidential run and she's CEO of this company, was she ever a trad wife? Was she just like acting? Was she just playing the part? I mean, that's crazy to me. Let's see. Has anyone there mentioned Charlie over Christmas and the New Year? Not that I saw. Yeah, I didn't see anyone like Happy New Year, we miss you, Charlie, or something similar. Do I have any idea who might have killed Charlie? Absolutely not. There are so many theories and guesses, and supposedly the government, FBI, has proof that Tyler did it. I mean, it's at this point, until they're done showing everything they have in court, I mean, it might be another 6 months to a year of just guessing. Let's see. Angela, thanks for the super chat. Have you seen the documentary on Aquino in San Francisco? That is bone chilling. That his partner is on the TPUSA board. Interesting. I'm going to have to check that out. Okay, let's see. Where is that at? Is that on Netflix? Yeah, I'll have to look into that. Thanks for the super chat. A great future president. Are you kidding? They're all corrupt as each other. They are the swamp that was supposed to be cleaned out. Many feel that way. Many do feel that way. Gary, thanks for super chat. Fort Huachuca is a lever to unravel the deep state. Maybe. The deep state goes a lot deeper than you think, though. I think people falsely believe the deep state is only in the U.S. I think the deep state is a global thing. Namvet, thanks for the super sticker. I love your channel, TS, TriggerSmart. I'm 99% positive that it was an exploding mic. What way are you leaning in your heart of hearts? So, in all honesty, I'm waiting to see. So, Heavy Duty Country and Jesse on Fire found a frangible 30-06 round. Now, it's the 1940s. It's going to be, obviously, it's going to be weather worn. It's been sitting around for decades. So, that could make it much weaker and that kind of stuff, the things that are bonding it together. But I really want to see if they can get it to break up on bone. I'm very interested because I'm kind of leaning like it's either something extreme, like the exploding mic theory, or it's, Occam's razor. It was just a gunshot with a frangible round or something similar. Maybe old ammo or something. So I really want to see what comes out of that test. Really looking forward to it. Edge, thanks for the super chat. Just want to thank you for having John Bray on. Still waiting for more. Do you think Audio Freak will adjust for the undershirt theory versus a distant shot? Okay, so that's interesting too. So Matt with Audio Freak and we talked quite a bit. And based on what he's seen so far, there's nothing in the audio, including sources that were directly behind Charlie, right, by that tunnel. There's nothing that shows that there was any kind of explosion at all. So, I mean, if the audio was 100% conclusive, which it depends on which method you use. I'm not like an expert in the audio forensics area, but he says no. So I don't know if that answers your question. And he's working on other positions as well. Let's see. What other word could assassin be similar to? I would look at a thesaurus, and I'm sure you could find a lot, but nothing good. Yeah, no way it could be accidental who randomly uses that word. Apparently just Nicki Minaj. And then she took down her Instagram, which was interesting. She lost 10 million subs? She lost 10 million subs, but she had I think 200 million or something crazy. Why take it down? Let's see. Cyber Rudy, thanks for the super chat. Camp Hero in Montauk, New York is a base founded on Indian land and linked to sophisticated mind control programs where thousands of kids went missing. Interesting. Now, that was my question too, is when I was saying those open questions, is this a lot bigger than just TPUSA, the government, and Fort Huachuca? Is this like a systematic thing across all of the different bases and all of the military and everything? Crystal's Malin. I've never seen a gender reveal like Cabot Phillips' gender reveal. Yep. He's an interesting guy. Very interesting guy. Do you think Erika was Charlie's handler? Yes, I do. I think that she allegedly was planted to make sure he was doing, maybe to distract him enough to allow other people to do things, like encourage him to go out and be in the field and always be away from the company and delegate everything out so he wouldn't have to worry about it, right? To keep his stress down. Let's see. Who was Charlie's mentor when he first started with TPUSA? Actually, if you guys can put that in the chat, I know some people actually know the person's name. He's passed now, but if you guys know the name of the mentor that Charlie first started with at TPUSA, can you put that down in the chat? This is an interesting question. Is TPUSA supposed to be religious or political? Both. So TPUSA proper is political. Their whole goal is to basically to mentor children and convince them to fight tyrannical governments and be involved in politics and that kind of stuff. That's really TPUSA proper's position. But then there's TPUSA faith, which, no one's really done like a huge video on TPUSA faith yet or dug deep into it, but it seems like I believe Andrew that we interviewed, I believe he worked for them. And I also believe that Josh Peterson, who is the whistleblower from TPUSA that's gone on like DD Got a Podcast and different people, I think that all of them work for TPUSA Faith. But they're supposed to be like a evangelical Christian, I believe is what Charlie originally was. And then he was supposedly, according to Erika, like working towards, and Candace, I believe too, working towards becoming like Catholic. And then you have like the, Shabbat Shalom stuff with the, Judaism. And so was he confused? I don't know. I'm not sure with that, but yes, they do have both aspects, but it's different organizations. Let's see. Have you looked into the factory that tragically blew up? Barron has. I know Barron reported on that before, even before I had John Bray on, and then John Bray added some more information about it. So I don't know how much deeper that goes. I'm sure it goes very deep, like a lot of things. Savannah Barbieri. Let me know if I'm saying that right. Thanks for the super sticker. Is Erika actually banned or allegedly from Romania? As far as I know, it's alleged, right? Let's see, friends. I'm just going to try and get to these super chats here. Oh, wow. Big super chat from Mark and Shawnee. Thanks for the great content. Happy New Year. Thank you very much. Much appreciated. Happy New Year to you as well. And let me see if we have any more super chats. Gary, agreed. The deep state is global. It's based on greed. Yeah, 100%. And there was something very interesting that I saw too. It's on X, but it showed the location of the yachts, super yachts, and airplanes of billionaires. And they kind of convened on this island, which was in the same area as the Epstein Island for New Year's. So at one point, 80% of the wealth of the entire world was in that same spot. Crazy. Let's see. Beautiful Messy Ball. Thanks for the super chat. The deep state is worldwide. The term originates out of Turkey. Also, fact check, Andrew Tate was never convicted of a crime. Romania dropped charges. Good to know. But he was arrested and he was in jail. So if he was never convicted of a crime, why was he in jail? I would like to know that. Let's see. Lou CH. Luch? Thanks for the super chat. If Mikey is a straight man, then I'm Rick James. Sorry, but he makes Liberace look like an NFL linebacker. He is a happy fella. I'll give him that. Let's see. See if there's any more super chats. Don't want to miss anything. Laura Dongs. Thanks for the super chat. Nikki, sarcastic remark. Okay, that must have been to a specific person. So yeah, you got your shout out to that person. Maria Magistro. Thanks for the super chat. Do you think putting TPUSA in schools is a psyop to recruit? Probably. I mean, there's so many people involved. I don't know if you saw the Billy and Brandy kind of like interview that they did when they went on the street for that event, but for AmeriFest. But it seems like, half of the people were like, hey, something's weird. We still want to figure out what happened to Charlie and who did it. And then the other half was like, oh no, like the official narrative makes sense. And, TPUSA is great and everything else. So I would say it's probably 50-50, but I would say there's going to be an effort to groom and mentor these children in a certain way for future use, if that makes sense. Excuse me. Elizabeth Matheson. Love your work, TriggerSmart. Thanks for the super chat. DT120. Thanks for the super chat. I don't know if you knew, but you can put a message with that as well. Gary, thanks for the super chat. Wow, 90% of the world's wealth concentrated on Epstein Island. It was 80%, I believe. They said it was about 80%. And if you think about that, I want to say there was like over 1,000 different yachts and boats and planes that convened in that area for New Year's Eve, actually. So clearly there is an elite class of people, and the fact that they're doing it now is very strange. But, 2026 New Year, now we hear about Iran and Russia. China seems like it's going to make a move on Thailand. So maybe they were meeting about that. They've been building bunkers. They've been doing a lot of weird stuff behind the scenes. They want to do, digital currency. So maybe they had the final meeting. Maybe they put the stamp of approval on what they're going to do for our future. All right, let's see. Are there any more super chats or questions that I missed? Tons of questions. No way I can get to all of them. Let's see. Has anyone... So someone said that Charlie had 3 homes worth $12 million. Can anyone actually verify that? TriggerSmart, did you know Cabot has an identical twin in the military? Ruth, is that true, or are you making a joke? Is that like a Fort Huachuca, Mitch saw him at Fort Huachuca joke? Let's see, what are your current thoughts on exploding, micro-exploding cross theory? I think that there's some compelling information that might link to some kind of explosion. Mostly the plastic fragments and that kind of stuff. And if you watch John, he actually corrected himself and said that when the shirt comes up on the side, he thinks it's the actual like square circuit board from the microphone that's going and pushing the shirt up. So, it still kind of leans towards that microphone theory. First time ever YouTube super chat. Really love the tone your show carries. I'd like to go back to the day of basics that have been lost. The group who looked, they had prior knowledge concern. Yeah, I think a lot of people miss the old days. Namites, thanks for the super chat. How are we going to get rid of the deep state? That's a good question. I think that their ties, their money, their reach, their influence, how they silence people that go against them. I mean, I would think if they were going to be overthrown, it would have already happened. And with modern technology and the more money they have, that kind of stuff, it's going to be harder and harder to do anything. So I would say, if you take out some of them, other ones will just hop in their place. And like I said, I think it's global. So I don't know if there's much that can be done at this point, to be honest. Pretty sad. Crypto Benchmark Up, thanks for the super chat. They had to get rid of any security footage and witnesses who saw Butch pick up the package in Tennessee. Yeah, no, that's going back to the plant that blew up. That could be true. Could be very true. Gary, thanks for the super chat. Thanks for the great live chat. You are welcome. Let's see. Just found you today. Thank you for the presentation. Just subbed up. Thank you. I appreciate that. Atitum speaks. All right. Let's see. I think I'll do one more. Bumps Johnson, TriggerSmart. Do you think Erika Kirk planned to have Charlie Kirk assassinated while dating Cabot Phillips to take over TPUSA? Bit absurd. The timing is interesting. The fact that Cabot, Kirk, Erika Kirk, and Charlie Kirk all kind of like were around each other. And Cabot and Erika were dating, I believe, in 2016 or 2017. And Cabot Phillips also had images playing basketball with Charlie during the same time. Makes me think that they all knew each other, knew about each other. How would Charlie be best friends or close to Cabot Phillips and play basketball with him and work with him at TPUSA? Or I guess he's at The Wire. The what's the name of that? I can't think of the name of the show or whatever, or what was it? The Daily Wire. There we go. So he's at the Daily Wire, and you're telling me that he's never met Cabot Phillips' girlfriend? Like they're close buddies. They have Instagram pictures together and stuff, and he never met Erika Kirk when he was dating her? That seems weird to me. All right. Very cool. So I know everyone's going to head off here and go check out Barron. But I just want to get this information out, and I actually am curious if he's going to build on this or talk about similar things. But I'll let you guys get on your way. Make sure, hit that like on the way out, please. Don't forget to subscribe. And I appreciate all the super chats, all the members. And if you want to support the channel, down in the description, there's links to do everything. So there's donations, there's, merch. I have TriggerSmart merch, and I'm going to be working on some t-shirts that actually have sayings and stuff on it. And then, of course, I have affiliate links. So I appreciate you guys being with me, and I will see you on the next one.